Good night, all. Welcome to another episode of Committing to Your Spiritual Duty Regardless of How You Feel. Welcome to Objective Reality and another session of Committing to Your Spiritual Duty Regardless of How You Feel. Also, welcome to London. Welcome to London. So, as I was saying, I am not your average spiritual teacher, pundit, priest, imam, whatever, right? I am here to just speak the truth, nothing more, nothing less, right? And if you don't like it, and if you don't like how I say it, well, find somebody else to say it nicer to you, or find somebody else to give you a better attitude while saying it, right? But we're talking about methods of mind manipulation, which somebody tried to do to me again today, right? Mentally manipulate, right? Mental manipulation, right? What is mental manipulation? It is an attempt to invert reality. Mental manipulation is nothing but an attempt to invert, twist reality, right? To suit your particular agenda. Now, today, someone tried to mentally manipulate me, and this one of the biggest, largest, global forms of mental manipulation that you will ever come across in your life is religious manipulation, right? Religious manipulation. What is religious manipulation? Religious manipulation is religion is a tool, as Karl Marx had said, is the opium of the masses. It is a tool that is used to blind the majority of the people in the world, right? Religion is the tool, psychological tool that is used to blind the majority of the population in the world. Whilst walking the streets of London today, right? I was sitting across on a bench, and I happened to see a table with some books and stuff from a distance, and there was a banner, right? A banner laying from the top of the table to the underneath of the table, and the banner said stressed, or relieve stress, or how to relieve your stress, right? Also known as anxiety, depression, so on, right? So I was like, well, let me check out this table and see what tips they are offering, and if I could help to incorporate these solutions into my videos and stuff, right? When I went to the table, this was an attempt to convert me, right? So the solution that they were offering for stress, which was false advertising, one, which is mental manipulation. Mental manipulation is also false advertising. You're advertising a solution for stress, and then the solution you're offering is that which actually gives the most stress, right? Religion is the source of that which gives the people the most stress in this world, right? So on the table was a million different books about converting to Islam and the Quran and all these things, right? And then I got caught up in a conversation which was like for about half an hour to an hour with a couple Muslim converts themselves, being converted from other religions, converted into Islam, trying to convince me that this is the truth. Right now, I don't have a problem with this, and this video, I hope it doesn't inspire Islamic terrorists and so on to do anything major like plane crashes and so on, right? That was a joke, right? But what I noticed was every time I try to ask from a philosophical standpoint, hey, what's your reasoning for this, or what's your reasoning for that, or what is your take on this, what is your take on that, I could never be provided with the philosophical underpinnings, or the logical reasoning behind that which is practice or belief. Now, in that simple conversation, there were many contradictions. Remember, I was called here by the Most High to speak on life experience, right? And life experience incorporates conversations, and that's why I'm open with every conversation, right? Even the heavy ones, right? Right? But in this conversation, it was quite interesting because each time I attempted to acquire an answer from a philosophical standpoint. My questions was not being answered. So how could I accept this as the ultimate truth? Now, I have no problem accepting the tenet of Islam, say for example, worshiping or surrendering, submitting oneself to one creator, right? I have no problem with these things. The creator of the universe, which is the creator of the laws of the universe, which is what my entire video presentations are based upon. Surrendering yourself to the laws of the universe and the creator who made these laws, right? And accepting that a Prophet Muhammad would have come to teach certain things. Now, I want to raise a point today, which is vegetarianism, which I brought up with him today, right? The conversation about vegetarian and Islam. Now, when I brought up this conversation, it was from the angle of saying, hey, well, how he interpreted it to be was me asking if vegetarianism is permitted in Islam, right? But as now I was asking, the universal law actively states that non-violence is the answer, right? So I wouldn't go to a religion and say, hey, is vegetarianism allowed? That's absurd, right? But that's how he interpreted my question about when I raised the topic about vegetarian and Islam. So he was like, well, it is okay, right? Telling me that, hey, well, it is okay to be Muslim and vegetarian at the same time, right? That was his interpretation. But what I was trying to get across to him was that Islam being a religion of mercy or compassion, why is there a need to have an entire festival of sacrificing, international ritual of sacrificing animals, when your religion is a religion of peace and of mercy and of grace and all this, right? That was my point, right? He admitted, right? So this Islamic converted from Hinduism to Islam, right? He's Indian, from India, and he converted to Islam, right? So he admitted today, right? He would have admitted that Prophet Muhammad, right? And he do believe he is against the belief in reincarnation, all these things, right? And I guess karma and all these things too, right? But he believes in purpose, and there's a purpose for everybody, right? Now, this is just a conversation we are having here, me and whoever is watching this video. This is not a bash, condemn, criticize anybody's religion, but this is all to say that religion is the opium of the masses, and I'll explain why. Yeah, so the guys I was speaking to today, right? He admitted that Prophet Muhammad, right, which is the final prophet, would have survived on dates and water. Dates, you all know the fruit or the snack, dates and water, which is what Muslims typically break their fast with when they're fasting for Ramadan and so on, right? So dates and water is what Prophet Muhammad would have survived on, and he said that Prophet Muhammad would have eaten cooked food only like once every few months or so. Now, I don't know how true this is, but this is what this expert in Islam was telling me, right? That Prophet Muhammad was, and this was on the topic of vegetarian, so he was admitting that Prophet Muhammad was actually living a vegetarian life, right? Now, so I raised the point to him. I was like, well, if the prophet, right, whose lives we should aspire towards, right, because the aim of these prophets was to be way showers, right, not to be worshipped, right, which Islam actually admits, which I actually agree with, right? The prophet, right, Prophet Muhammad, Jesus Christ, all these, right, Krishna, everybody is meant to be way showers, right, showing the way, right, presenting the way, living the way, right? So if Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right, if he was actually living a vegetarian or vegan lifestyle, right, and even maybe raw food diets and so on, because if he can cook food once every few months, right, isn't this the path that we should strive towards? Now, I'm not telling anybody to eat food once every few months. We're talking about the topic of vegetarianism and slowly eliminating violence from our diets, right? That's the point. Slowly eliminating violence from our, or alleviating violence from our plates, right? That's what I'm referring to. Why is there a need to sacrifice, to have an international sacrifice called Eid al-Adha when the prophet that you adore, the prophet that you follow, right? The prophet who was sent here to be a way shower, right, was actually most likely vegetarian, right? Was most likely a vegetarian according to this Islamic expert, right? I don't know what are other people takes on this, right? What is the take of other Islamic scholars on this, right? So I was like, well, if this is the pathway of the prophet and the path that the prophet came to show, incarnated to show, right? Because he admitted that it is the same message, right, as being recycled, right? Age after age, or however after it. And Prophet Muhammad was saying, and why no prophets came after Prophet Muhammad being the final prophet, right? And why no prophet came? Because it's the same message that going to be delivered again, right? It's the same message that is going to be delivered again, right? And I agree, I can agree with that, right? That age after age, right? Now, whether reincarnation is real or not, I don't know, right? But if reincarnation is real, that means that prophets come and go, right? Prophets reincarnate again, right? If it's not, so be it. But there are other souls who come to teach the same message, right? Who incarnate to teach the same message. So I was like, well, if this is the pathway of your prophet, right? And listen to the contradiction in this. If this is the pathway or the dietary lifestyle of your prophet, right? How can you have an entire festival that is dedicated to the slaughtering of animals when this is meant to be an analogy, folks, right? And this is the difference between taking scriptures literally and extracting the essence, extracting the value, extracting the esoteric meaning, right? Extracting the esoteric meaning, right? From what scriptures say, right? So I am not any scriptural expert. I am not going to claim to know any Quran, Gita, Bible word for word, right? But I know reality for what it is, and I could decipher common sense from not common sense, and I could decipher when people are trying to walk up my head, especially when it comes to religion, right? I could decipher quite well when people are trying to warp up my head, when they can't even deal with or philosophically reason, and then trying to convert others for followers, right? I am not looking for followers. My followers or subscribers have been on a steady decline, right? The people who watch my videos have been on a steady decline, and the reason for that is that I am not interested on gathering followers or getting anybody to join some cult, right? One of the things he was also trying to do today was to get me to repeat that I submit to Allah and prophet and to the only prophet, which is Prophet Muhammad, right? I believe that Prophet Muhammad is a prophet, and so on, of course, right? Now, I could believe these things, so what, right? There are many prophets who come and go, right? There are many prophets who come and go, but I am not going to identify. After I was like, yeah, well, I actually do believe there was probably a Prophet Muhammad and he was a prophet, right? But that doesn't mean that I identify with anything called a Muslim. So any attempts, I cancel those attempts to put a title of Muslim on my name, because I am not a Muslim. I don't even identify as Hindu. I don't identify with any religion at this point, in fact, right? Christian, nothing, right? There's no religion that I identify with, right? I would rather not have that attached to me, right? So I renounce, cancel any attempts to place any religious titles on me, like what was trying to be done today, right? I am not about to be converted, or I was not converted as this individual is trying to do, as to gain followers, convincing me that Islam is the fastest growing religion on the planet. And I'm like, well, that is why the world will continuously be descending into madness, right? Because I have no problem with Islam, but true Islam, right, following the pathway of the Prophet, as he himself stated. So he was tying up himself, contradicting himself in this conversation, because one of the things he said when I brought up the topic about, hey, Prophet Muhammad was living the path that we were supposed to live, right? And I said, well, why are we not striving, or why are you not teaching, right? Why are you not teaching vegetarianism if that is the path that the Prophet walked, right? And he said, you know what he said? And I was blown away. I was mind blown that I had to come all the way to England to hear this, right? I was mind blown. He was like, well, that is, we live in a world where there's human weakness, right? We live in a world where there's human weakness, and there's how he put it, boy, and it's a very hard thing to do, right? It's a very hard thing to do. Remember what I was saying in my last video, right? Carefully, right? I was saying that there's a reason this path is the hardest path of all spiritual paths, and that there are many religious paths, there are many spiritual paths that claim to have the solution, right? Go back to my last video, right? You all will hear that I said that there are many religious and spiritual paths that will claim to have the solution, right? Sink this in into your thick skulls, what I said before, and so said, right? There are many religious pathways that will claim to have the solution to the problems that you are facing in life, the contradictions, right? But these religions contradict themselves. Now he was trying to tell me that there are no contradictions in the Quran and so on, right? But you can't be saying that, hey, I adopt Prophet Muhammad as my prophet, right? But you're not actually walking the walk or living the lifestyle that Prophet Muhammad lived, right? And if you yourself say that, hey, well, Prophet Muhammad was most likely, he lived a vegetarian life, which is the moral life, right? Which is the solution, right? Non-violence. Then why are you having a festival, a ritual festival, right? It's just something to consider, right? I'm not causing any religious uproars and thing, right? But this is just an experience that I been through today, right? It was an experience that I been through today on my spiritual journey, because I came here to England on a spiritual journey, right? I am on a spiritual journey, and I ended up here in England, and I am progressing on this spiritual journey, asking questions, seeking answers, right? Well, I found the answers within myself, but I am trying to help people to understand what the solution is, regardless of how hard it is, because I'm not looking for followers, I'm not looking to be liked, I'm not looking to be loved, I'm not looking for anything like that by the external world, right? I am actually just simply here to help. Yeah, I'm just really here to help people to resolve their own internal contradictions based on philosophical reasoning, right? And common sense. Here to help people to resolve their own internal contradictions, right? Using simple common sense and engaging in a little bit of reasoning, right? That is all. And to realize that the truth exists within you all along, and you don't need to turn to religion, religious figures, religious people who are trying to put religious spirits on you to convert you into something that you are actually not, or to attach some religion to you that you don't actually subscribe to, right? Now I could subscribe to the tenets of Islam, nothing is wrong with that. I do believe in charity, I do believe in one God, and not praying to many deities, to not do idol worship, right? To submit to the laws of God, right? That is what my videos are actually premised on, surrendering to the one creator who created the laws of that govern the consequences, that govern the world and govern our behavior and so on, right? So getting down to the root of what this really means is what this video is about, right? So I will not be manipulated by religious people who converting from one religion to the next religion, right? And then trying to get one set of religious followers, right? Religious followers. When I am content with my few subscribers and few people who watch my videos, if I could help one person at least to come to understand it, right? That, hey, there are certain things that the scripture says, and there are certain cultural practices that your religion are involved in that is actually doing more harm than good to humans and to living animals.